speech. We're on with Senator Bill Cassidy of Louisiana, our United States Senator Bill Cassidy from our great state of Louisiana, and we're going to be back with him. There is a bill, an act that is about to pass, that we hope is about to pass. It deals with software, and you need to know the skinny on this. I'm CL. This is the CL Bryant Show. I want to thank Grubburger, Air Innovations, Rimmer Electric, Dale's Paving, Red Wing Shoes, and our friends at Barksdale Federal Credit Union for sponsoring this segment of the C.L. Bryant Show. Back with U.S. Senator Bill Cassidy when I return. Out of here, said a joker to the
rumors spreading round.
CL back with you. On with me is United States Senator Bill Cassidy, and I want to thank each and every one of you out there for making us the number one listen to talk show here in the Arklatex area. And I want to thank Bill for being with us for so long. We've been on for 2 years now. And Bill, let me say that so many people, I talk to people all the time, and people are really proud of the job that you're doing. And I thank you always for coming on the show. Now, there's something that you are involved with. In fact, it was something that you spearheaded. It's called the Megabyte Act. Would you tell the folks what the Megabyte Act is and why it is important?
Megabyte, B-Y-T-E, like a byte on your computer of information. The federal government wastes money all the time, CL. It's incredible how much money the federal government wastes. But one of the ways it wastes money is that if somebody in the office needs to have Word, for example, Microsoft Word, they'll buy a license. Now, the license can be good for 10 people, but this one person needs it, so they buy it. Well, the next guy or gal needs the Microsoft Word, so they buy a version. Well, that license is good for 10 people. They didn't use the previous license. Now they get their own. So now they got a license for 20, but only 2 people using them. The third person needs Microsoft Word. They buy another license worth 10 people. The federal government can waste up to $4 billion.
Wow.
By not using these software licenses as you would in your small business.
Wow, the bureaucracy of it.
Well, it's somebody else's money. So why not? It's someone else's credit card. Who cares what I pay attention to it? So what we do is we just require that these agencies take into account, have some sort of inventory of what their licensing arrangements are, and if they have Microsoft Excel, well, you name it, then they don't go out and buy another. Rather, they first use that which is already in the office.
And so we have been wasting money on software.
Well, there's a lot more that we waste money on, but the simple answer is absolutely.
Now, will this make the machine more fluid and more workable as far, how will we realize, how will we see this money? Will we actually see any of this money once we, and where, in what areas will we see this money recouped?
It's all over the federal government, so it's going to apply to all the federal government. It's projected to save $4 billion over 10 years. And so, which even in Washington, $4 billion is significant.
Yeah.
Now, most likely, those agencies will just use those dollars elsewhere. But my goal is to make the federal government use taxpayer dollars more effectively, more efficiently, and with greater accountability. We've done little things like making a rule that somebody who has a federal agency cannot get a portrait painted to themselves by taxpayer dollars. That's about $50,000 a clip, and so that's a little bit. We also have a rule now. You got to use your Megabyte Act, so we'll save $4 billion that way. But little by little, we're trying to make it so the federal government uses taxpayer dollars more efficiently, more effectively, with greater accountability. This is our latest measure.
Hold their feet to the fire, Senator Bill Cassidy. That is exactly what we sent you there to do, is find the money, Bill, because listen, we have been bleeding it, and for over 10 years we've been bleeding money, and so I certainly thank you for the job that you're doing. Fight the good fight. God bless and keep you. Is there any parting words that you want to leave us with?
Hey, CL, we live in the greatest country in the world, and there's people who like to dog what we are, but nonetheless, everyone around the world wants to get here. Thanks for keeping the faith. Thanks for encouraging us all to keep in the fight, and the greatest days of our country are ahead of us.
Absolutely, and be sure to tell your lovely wife that I said hello.
I will. Thank you.
All right. God bless and keep you, Bill. Talk to you soon.
Yes, sir.
That's United States Senator Bill Cassidy, and he is, in fact, saving us, trying to save us a little money there. Hey, when you're talking about $4 billion, we are talking about significant. And we need to start looking into cutting into that $19 trillion. Hey, we got to start cutting into that $19 trillion, folks. Otherwise, we talk about the pitter-patter of feet that we're hearing leaving this state, Louisiana. Our young people, they're not going to go to Paris. They're not going to leave this country, but they won't have any future if we keep mortgaging their future the way we are, with excessive debt. It is excessive. And so, folks, coming up in the show will be Gold Star mom, Karen Vaughn, and we want to speak with her in regard to what that is. And you may or may not know this, that 85 years ago, the Veterans Administration was formed. on today, 85 years ago. And I want to bring that into focus because it was formed right after World War One. And this Gold Star Mom idea and organization, Gold Star Mothers, was formed right after World War One as well. It's been around for about the same length of time. Now, Karen's going to go into detail about what Gold Star Mothers entail and all of that. The new venture, Raising World Change. Want to know what that is about. And then later on in the show, we're going to have, well, actually, here in the next segment, right before Karen, we're going to have somebody that you want to pay close attention to. It's a name that you're going to want to write down, commit to memory, put it in your iPhone. But his name is Darrell Glenn. He is retired Lieutenant Colonel Darrell Glenn. And he is black conservative. He spoke at the Republican National Convention. And I certainly want you to get a glimpse of the American future. I'm CL. Be right back.
Broadcasting from the Bayou State and all around the Gulf Coast and streaming nationwide. This is the C.L. Bryant Show.
Welcome back, all of you, and I want to thank Josie Wright, Century 21 Elite Agent, along with Bossier Magazine, SS Truck, Rimmer Electric, Mercatech, and our friends at Chevyland for sponsoring this segment of the C.L. Bryant Show. I want to thank all of you who listen to us daily. 2 hours a day is what we ask. And, of course, you've made us the most listened to talk here in the Arklatex, broadcasting from the Jewel Cities of the Arklatex. And coming up later on the show will be Karen Vaughn, who is a Gold Star mother that was founded about 85 years ago. And she's going to tell us a lot about that story. Her son, who was on a mission when he was killed in action. And on the line with me now is someone who knows much about the mission. In fact, he is on a mission himself to win a seat in the United States Senate. His name is Darrell Glenn. Let me tell you a little bit about him. He is currently serving as El Paso County in Colorado, commissioner of that county. He has a 21-year combined service in the Air Force and, of course, the military and the reserve. He is retired lieutenant colonel, graduate of the United States Air Force Academy in 1988, three-time national collegiate powerlifting champion. Jay, he can body slam us both, I'm telling you. But I'm very happy to invite to the show for the very first time. I'm certainly won't be the last. Lieutenant Colonel, I want to thank you for your service to our nation. Darrell Glenn, thank you for being here.
Oh, it is my pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me on.
Now, I got a chance to listen to some of your presentation to the GOP convention, and it is a message that I do believe should be resonating throughout our entire nation. It was a message of responsibility, and it was a call to action. Let me ask you this before we get into our interview. Are we seeing the party begin to gel? Are they beginning to unify as far as you can tell?
You know, I just came from out there, and I believe we are. People need to understand, and I think if you just watch the Republicans, we are natural, independent thinkers. So it takes a while for all of us to kind of start moving in the same direction. But I think that's a strength of our party, because we don't blindly follow people just like sheep. The Democrats, historically, it doesn't matter who they throw out there as their candidates, they're all going to rally behind that person, even if they're a felon or not. I mean, it doesn't really matter. But we require the process to earn it, and I like that.
Earn it. I do like that myself. Let me ask you this. Tonight, we will hear the theme of making America one again. And one of the things I had mentioned, I speak around the country as well. One of the things that I think we as Americans have forgotten, and I think I'm saying this in reference to Donald Trump being now the party nominee, is that we have always gravitated toward people who seem to be larger than life. And in making our nation great again, do you think that maybe the right prescription has been written for us and it's coming from the Republican Party at this point in time, Lieutenant Colonel?
I do. There is a sharp contrast, and I hope that Mr. Trump really focuses in on that, because when you're looking at the other side, Hillary Clinton is unfit to be president. And what we have seen through whether it's just plain indifference or whatever, there's a new standard that's in place. You know, there's a standard that most everybody else has to follow with regard to the rule of law. And then you have the Clinton standard. And do we want to have a country that basically does that? And we're coming off an administration that's being led by a president who ran as the great uniter. And we're more divided today. And I'm trying to get people to wake up that this is a generational election. And we need to take charge and regain control of our country.
Darrell, when we talk about going into the future, I see something disturbing. I've seen it in Detroit. I saw it in Ferguson, Baltimore, and I've seen it in Chicago, all these places that I have visited and spoken to people in the inner city. I see a class, you talk about division. We are more divided. Yes, we're racially divided. There's no question about that. But we're also divided. It appears that there's an active move to divide America by class. Do you see that happening?
Absolutely. And what's funny about that is that I blame more the Democrats because their party, they keep promoting these programs that sound good and they try to make you feel good. But basically what they're trying to do is make you more and more dependent on the government. I mean, just think about Obamacare and the Medicare expansion, the Medicaid expansion with regard to that. Now you're expanding that to people that don't have children, because what you're trying to do is have more and more people dependent on the government. I mean, I understand safety net programs, but safety net programs aren't designed to make you comfortable. They're designed to provide you with a basic level of comfort, but still enable you to have that drive to be able to change your station in life. But that's not what the Democrat is about. They want to keep you attached to the government handout programs, and we need to stand up and highlight the fact that if you want to be economic free, enjoy economic freedom, it's with the Republican Party.
I will send you a copy of my film, Runaway Slave. It's an award-winning film. Has been mentioned among, I have to say this every time, among the top 10 documentaries made. And it's one that has everybody in it from Dr. Thomas Sowell to Al Sharpton. But I want to send that to you because you're articulate, your fresh face, and you're wanting to be make a difference in our nation. This is the question that I have you, and folks, in case you can't tell, I'm a black conservative, and so is Lieutenant Colonel Darrell Glenn. And for the shame of it all is we have to say that for the sake of conversation in this country to make a point, actually, at this point. And this is the point I want to make. Darrell, if you could speak to this. Why then is it so hard for black people to see just how codependent they have become, in particular, on these on the assistance of government? Have we become mascots?
We have, and part of it is our own doing, because if we don't stand up and basically show that there are leaders within the black community, and those leaders need to be willing to stand up and speak out and show a pathway on how to break the cycle. We're part of the problem. I always, when I'm out talking to people, talk about the first encounter that I had as an elected official when I was on city council. I remember speaking to, I think it was an 8th grade class, and I was in there, and this young black child proceeded to lecture me on how the man was keeping him down.
What grade was this, Darrell? What grade was this?
In eighth grade.
I want you to hold on. Don't go away. We'll be back with retired Lieutenant Colonel Darrell Glenn. Folks, you got to hear this. I'm CL. Be right back. CL. Back with you on this Thursday evening here in the jewel cities of the Arklatex, streaming live throughout the greatest nation on the face of the earth, the greatest success story the world has ever known. That would be America. And on the line with me is one of America's finest. That is retired Lieutenant Colonel Darrell Glenn. Darrell, I want to say this to you before we get back to that story about that eighth grader, man, because that is. I am a senior fellow with Freedom Works, Washington, D.C., and, man, I was texting a couple of people while we were at break. I want to hook you into them if you haven't already interviewed, but just the same, that's something I'll talk to you offline about. But now, back to the story about the eighth grader who was saying that the man was keeping him down.
Absolutely. And I looked at him and I asked him, well, who was the man? And he goes, you know who the man is. The man's just keeping me down. And it hurts when you think about that, because this child obviously learned that from somebody at home.
Yeah.
And that's you're setting that child up to already grow up with a chip on his shoulder, and not realizing the fact that it's about hard work. And if you start through life already thinking that somebody owes you something or somebody's holding you back, you're setting that child up to fail. And I love to highlight that as an example, because that's something that my own people, that we need to understand that we are part of the problem.
We are definitely a part of the problem. You said something in your speech about the fatherless home. That fathers are no longer in the home. Now, that's definitely apparent in the inner city, particularly of the black community, but that is beginning to be an epidemic throughout this entire nation. Do we witness the crumbling of a society when fathers abdicate that responsibility, in your opinion?
Absolutely, and it's not just the inner cities. I mean, when you look around suburban America, it's just becoming the norm, because people aren't understanding and respecting traditional marriage, and they're just wanting to hook up or do whatever, and you have a child, and it seems to be okay. I'm sorry, there's too much data out there that shows you that it takes two parents in the home to raise this child in order to be truly successful. So I think that we, as a society, need to place more of an emphasis on the traditional foundation of that family.
Absolutely, and there is something also, as Republicans, both of us need to. I encourage I hate to talk in colors, but it's the way we have to talk in this nation in order to get across certain points. As black Republicans in particular, I hope that we are able to encourage the Republican Party, to tell their historic story, because the Democrats, the progressive liberals, have hijacked the story of the Republican Party, and in many cases have made it totally their own. Do you find a defiant kind of ignorance to who Republicans are as you go around and speak?
Absolutely. When you think that their number one black role model is probably our current president, and they don't go back and understand their history of the struggle and the fact that the Democrats has been as much of an obstacle to our freedom as anybody else. I think it's extremely important, because they aren't learning this in school. I think it's important for us to have conversation, and that's one of the things that I'm trying to highlight in my campaign. And that what Republicans have traditionally failed at is going right into the heart of where Democrats traditionally take advantage of our vote. Basic discussion.
How does a person, if they wanted to help your campaign or see what you are about, how do they do that? Where do they go?
They go to electdarrellglenn.com, and that's DARRYLGLENN. Because they're going to see me taking on issues that Republicans have traditionally shied away from. They're going to think that, in Colorado, one of our major cities, especially a Democratic stronghold, is Denver. They're going to think I'm running for the mayor of Denver, because I'm going to be right there.
I come up there often. Have many friends up there in Colorado, and I'm going to be up there soon, and definitely want to look you up as far as that's concerned. And then finally, Daryl, please tell the people why. I always ask this question to everyone who comes across my air. Why do you want to be the United States Senator from Colorado?
It's time for Colorado to lead. Our current senator is MIA. He is missing in action. I started my campaign 15 months early because I, like a lot of other people here, were extremely frustrated with the politicians that say one thing to get elected, and then they go to Washington and they basically follow the special interest groups and party leadership and forget about the very people that they have sworn to basically support. And it's time for Colorado to lead, and I believe that we can do that.
I believe you can. I believe you can. What we must hold the. I'm really hoping that we can hold the Senate. Colorado is one of those states, can be a bellwether state either way. If it goes blue, then hey, the presidency could be going to the blue. If it goes red, the presidency can go red. I do remember when Colorado was a red state. What happened up there?
Good question. You know, I jokingly say it's probably California's fault. We should build a wall and make them. But when I grew up, I mean, I'm almost a native in Colorado. You know, I grew up as a Reagan conservative here in Colorado. Colorado was red, and then all of a sudden, when I went on active duty, came back, and I'm like, what happened to my state? But it's such a popular place. A lot of people migrate here, and we basically have not had some strong conservative leadership. It's time to change that.
DarylGlenn.com, electdarylglenn.com, electdarylglenn.com. Listen, Daryl, God bless you. God keep you is my prayer for you. Fight the good fight. I know that you will because you are. And I'll be in touch with you here within the week for certain. And all the best to you. And you'll be back on as time goes by and you get closer to the election. And we'll see what we can do to get you some help.
Thank you so much. It's truly an honor. Let's go win this.
Let's go win it. Talk to you soon. Thank you. Daryl Glenn. Daryl Glenn, electdarylglenn.com. I'm CL. This is the CL Bryant Show. And folks, don't go anywhere. Coming up is a Gold Star mother, Karen Vaughn. In this election season, we have been able to bring you all types of people here during this GOP Republican convention week, and this mother that's coming up, you don't want to miss this interview because, folks, I have a feeling more and more of our children are going to be called on to defend this country. Yeah, unfortunate, but it very well could be true. I'm CL. Don't go anywhere. CL. Thursday in the jewel cities of the Arklatex. Thank you for joining us. It's hot out there. Go see or call my friend at Air Innovations, Reggie Bear, Air Innovations. If you're having any problems staying cool, and we still have, August has not arrived. If you're having any problem staying cool, call Reggie Bear. And if you find yourself in your commercial business, you need to needing light in any situation. If you have a place that you have acquired that have some dark spots in these perilous times that we live in, let me tell you about Rimmer Electric. Adam Rimmer at Rimmer Electric, they can bring the light. They know how to do it. Integrity is, in fact, a buzzword for them. It is a word that goes hand in hand with Rimmer Electric. Folks, 320-5335, 318-320-5335 is the number to call, 318-320-5335. As I stated a little bit earlier, Gold Star mom, Karen Vaughn, will be coming up. I got a notification, I got an email, a text from one of our team members, Rick Keller, about Trump's speech tonight. And it appears that Fox is got the skinny on it. It looks as though Trump is going to key on American safety, American citizens' safety, the safety of American citizens, law enforcement, law and order, police officers, military, and of course our citizens. Now, I think this is a good way for him to go. I hope he stays away from whatever insults he can hurl. He can do that on the debate stage if he wants to. But I think tonight, if he's calling himself the law and order candidate, then he needs to stick to law and order. Make America first again. I think these topics are the exact topics that he should stick to and give America the idea that, yes, we're first in line. When we start talking about law and order, American citizens, and our safety, that is job one. That's job one of any elected official, particularly a mayor, a police chief, whoever it is, governor of a state. That is job one, and that is to keep America, keep the citizens safe, keep the citizenry safe. And so that is something that I'm certainly hoping that he does. Keith. On the line with me now is Keith. Keith, thank you for listening. Thank you for calling. What's on your mind, brother?
Hey, CL. The Cruz, speech, which is on everyone's mind, I don't think it was bad. He
I agree with you, Keith. Keith, I don't think Ted did anything wrong. Period. I don't think he did anything wrong. I think what he could have done was simply seem more like a team player. And I think that's where he may have got out. But go ahead. Finish your thought.
He endorsed Trump without saying, "I am endorsing Trump." If anyone with morals are not going to vote for Hillary, he said, vote, morally, who's going to follow the Constitution, that's only Trump. And the way that Trump ended it, the way they came in, I think they didn't expect all the booing.
I think that those were the people from New York. The people from New York, Keith, were right down there in front. And I think that it was totally out of line for them to have. He did not say anything that was, as far as I'm concerned, he didn't say anything that was insulting. As far as I'm concerned, I don't see what they got insulted about.
No.
And so go ahead.
I do wish that. I feel like that Cruz is not putting the nation. Our country is. This is it.
Yeah.
Is he holding his pride over the whole nation, though?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, it's about the team right now. Right now,
Gotta be.
it's about the team. We're on a mission. And hey, okay, yeah, I may have a headache, you may have a toe ache, or whatever it is, but the mission still has to go forward. It just has to go forward.
Have Trump and Cruz gotten in a room and talked like Trump and Ben Carson did, and Trump and do you know? I don't know if they.
This is what I get from the team. I speak. I'm still a part of the. There's still a core group of us who talk to Ted regularly and so forth and all that type thing. There has not been the come to Jesus kind of powwow that they ought to have. There has been telephone calls and that type of thing, but the sore feelings, and this is what it is, Keith. The sore feelings over Trump, saying what he said about his wife, and then accusing his father of being one of the assassins of JFK. That still rubs Ted. And then this lying Ted thing. Man, that just didn't sit well. But Keith, it is about the team. I'm up against a break. I got to go here, but I do appreciate your call and I appreciate your thoughts.
I'll say, yeah, we love you, man. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Keith. Thank you, man.
Bye.
Yeah, folks, he's right. Keith is right. They need to talk. I mean, they need to talk. They haven't. As far from what I know, from my personal involvement with this, I know that there has not been that moment, that come to Jesus moment, where you bring the two sides together. As Scripture says, if you have aught against your brother, you should go to him. Yada yada yada. That has not happened. It hasn't happened, and but it needs to happen because right now we're on a mission. And this is not about personalities or personal feelings. It is about the team. I'll be back in just a couple of minutes with Karen Vaughn. CL. Thursday in the jeweled cities of the Arklatex. We are streaming live throughout the greatest nation on the face of the earth, the greatest success story the world has ever known. That is America. And as far as I'm concerned, love it or get out of here. Get out. As far as I'm concerned, especially when we're talking to a mom like we're about to talk to, Karen Vaughn, who is the mother of a fallen United States Navy SEAL. Aaron Carson Vaughn was his name. And I want to thank you, Karen, for raising such an American and such an individual who gave all in defense of his country. And thank you for being here on the show. Again, you've been with me before, and I want to thank you so much for coming on.
Absolutely, CL. Thank you so much for having me.
Now, today, Karen, is actually the 85th birthday of the Veterans Administration, Veterans Affairs. And I want to also say that it was around the same time that Gold Star Mothers was formed about 85 years ago. It's been around since right after World War I. Tell us more about it. What do you all do for each other? What do you do for the nation?
Well, it's really kind of one of those things, CL, that you're a Gold Star mother, whether you're part of a formal organization or not. And people, I'm glad you're trying to educate people about this. All it means to be a Gold Star mother is that you lost a child that was killed in action, and so there's unfortunately about 7,000 plus of us from this war alone in the United States.
Wow!
And,
wow!
Yeah, and we just we comfort each other. A lot of chapters get together and just have functions where they do great things for their community, do great things for veterans, for military members still serving, and it's kind of what you want to make out of it, actually. And
I certainly know that you must be doing a good job at it because, Karen, I've seen you in action, and I tell you something, you do all things well. There is a new venture that you're trying to engage in, raising world change. Tell us about it.
Yeah, I am hoping to start some women's conferences where I just talk to moms across the country about how to re-engage their families in patriotic behavior, in raising citizens, not just good kids, but kids who are citizens of the United States, kids who understand the liberties that have been bought for them by other people's blood, by other people's sacrifice. Kids who understand that when they grow up, they have a civic responsibility to be engaged in the process of voting, to be engaged, of being knowledgeable about what's going on around them, and those are the kind of things I want to work with moms, on, and try to just teach them simple measures that they can do to teach their kids to love this country and to feel accountable to each other and to the history of our nation.
That is so worthy a project, Karen. Let me tell you why. I'm sure you've seen it. I see it in my travels around the country. I talk to Republicans and conservatives about telling our story as far as who we are as a party and as a conservative movement. But what I see in America these days, unfortunately, there are so many in the couple of generations behind me now that don't know the American story. They have no clue of just what a great nation I'm talking about when I call it the greatest nation on the face of the earth. They don't know why I'm saying that. Isn't that a tragedy?
It's a huge tragedy. I could not agree more. The thing is we've had patriotism wiped from the face of our school system. Right, with God being wiped out, we had patriotism wiped out, we had nationalism wiped out, we had pride in our country, just pride in our history. Our history has just been completely rewritten, and it's a tragedy because, people are always looking for something to believe in, and believing in the exceptional dream of being an American gave people a loyalty. And, Theo, right now what we've got with this type of culture is we've got many, many, many youth in our culture who, there's a lot who do, so I don't want to throw general sweeps out there, but we've got a huge culture full of youth and millennials who just really don't understand what's been given for them on any level to enjoy this freedom. we've got to teach them to, because like Ronald Reagan said, we're never more than one generation.
One generation away.
That's it.
You're absolutely right. And give me your take on this. Now, of course, we have our nominee now. At least he will accept the nomination tonight there in Cleveland. But we have on the other side of the aisle there, you have Hillary Clinton. You used a word that I love about America: exceptional. It's an exceptional nation. American exceptionalism is something that is far above anything that any other nation on earth have. We are an exceptional nation. I think we should be very proud of it. If nothing more, for Aaron, your son, who gave his life for this nation. There was reasons why our patriot fathers said we pledge to ourselves our lives, our liberty, and our sacred honor. There is exceptionalism to that type of bonding. But this is what I want to ask you: if a Hillary Clinton, God forbid, should become president of the United States, do you think that we would slip into the abyss of just being, or of them wanting us to be just like any other nation on earth? Would America cease to function and exist in the way that we thought it would or should, in your opinion, Karen?
In my opinion, I couldn't agree more. I will tell you, I believe that a Hillary Clinton presidency would be the nail in the coffin on the American dream. I do, because we've had almost 8 years now of a president who did not love this country, whose wife even said, right after they took office, that for the first time in her adult life, she was proud of her country. And I'd just like to say to her, well, you're welcome, Miss Obama. I've always been proud of my country. You're welcome for the blood that's been shed to have your pouty attitude about our country. And still, the thing that just frustrates me about a Clinton presidency is I am literally astounded right now, and that's why I am doing all the things I'm doing. I'm literally astounded right now that lawlessness has overrun our nation, and this woman is at the helm of it. And I was just having a conversation with a friend today. Forget about the lawlessness. Forget about all the economic decisions you and I know she will make that will degrade and destroy America. Forget about all the foreign, what a failure she was.
Hold that thought right there, Karen. Hold that thought right there. I'm going to bring you back on the other side of the break. I'm on with Gold Star mom, Karen Vaughn. I'm CL. We're going to talk more with this patriot when I return. CL back with you on this Thursday evening, broadcasting throughout the fruited plains of the great nation of America. And tonight, it is my sincerest desire that we will get a first glimpse of the next president of the United States, nominated by the party, the Republican Party, GOP. That's Donald J. Trump. We'll get to that. I want to talk to Karen Vaughn about that in just a minute. But Karen, you were telling us about the atrocity and the atrocities that could happen if Hillary Clinton becomes president. Continue with your thought.
Right. I was saying before the break, forget about the economic, what she would do to our economy. Forget about, what she would do to socialize this country, all those sorts of things. But just picture in your mind that you're a war fighter in Afghanistan or Iraq right now, and you wake up in November and you find out that Hillary Clinton is going to be your next commander-in-chief. The woman who stood over the casket of 4 dead Americans and lied to their family members, lied to the entire nation about what happened in Benghazi, Libya. Imagine that woman being your commander-in-chief, who it is documented that she has taken money from nations who are funding terrorist organizations that are fighting those very men and women. There could not be a more demoralizing final blow to the U.S. military. Not that this commander-in-chief has not tried to take them down over the past 7 years, but can you imagine the final blow that it would put on the morale of the U.S. military?
Wow.
That woman be their commander-in-chief.
Wow.
There's no way we can allow that to happen.
Wow. And folks, that should motivate you. That should motivate you because she would be commander-in-chief. And right now, when we look at what is happening to the morale of the finest that we have among us with this commander-in-chief, it is not feasible for us to allow a Saul Alinsky-ite to become commander-in-chief of this nation. Karen, I want to shift gears right now and get your take on. I see that they have released the speech of the Donald here, and it looks as though he is going to focus in on American safety tonight. It looks as though he is going to talk to us about our military as well, and I certainly hope he does a good job with that. Looks like law and order will be on the line there. This is my question to you. Do you think that our party is going to come out of Cleveland united? I've seen signals that it very well could, but I'm also seeing ripples of disharmony coming out of Cleveland. What are you saying?
Well, I've heard mixed emotions last night about what Ted Cruz did. I can tell you that I spoke at the convention on Monday night. CL.
Yes.
If you were, but I can tell you that being there among those people, I saw unity until Ted Cruz came out last night, and what that's done is that has stirred up a lot of divisiveness again. I know that a lot of people have said that it actually persuaded them to vote for Trump until the people started booing. I've heard all sorts of different feedback, but basically what we need is for the pouters and the whiners and the people who lost, just like I have many years. You probably have too, CL. We don't always get the guy up there that we want, but I've held my nose lots of times and pulled the lever in the ballot box because I knew it was the right thing to do for America. And I am really frustrated with people. I get that you passionately fought for somebody because you believed in them, but I'm really frustrated that people can't see through the bigger issue right now. We are going to have Hillary Clinton as our president. If we do not unite this party and fight together to make sure that Donald Trump is elected, and he's already proven that he means what he says by bringing Mike Pence in as his VP choice. This is as conservative as you can get. I don't know what else anybody wants for him to prove that he genuinely believes in America, loves America. You may not agree with all the business decisions he's made or whatever, but this is what our country was formed on, is people coming out of the business world, serving their time in the highest offices in our land and going back to the business world. That's the way our founders perceived this to work. They never dreamed that people would go to college and become career politicians and stay in there from the time they're 30 until they're 90. That's not what we expected. And so Donald Trump is the epitome of the kind of American that should run for office. He's doing his job. He's doing what he believes needs to be done. He's a problem solver. We have certainly got problems.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
Yes, we do.
No, Hillary Clinton is not going to solve a problem. She is going to exacerbate every problem we have, and people have got to understand that. So I'm praying for the uniting of this party. And I'm not an anti-Cruz. I wasn't an anti-Ruby. I'm not an anti-anybody. I'm a pro-American.
Yeah.
No warrior goes to war and fights with an R or a Z on their shoulder. They go with an American flag on their shoulder, and that's what we've got to see. Is if we want to preserve this, the last best hope of man on earth, we had better get our act together, stop whining, and fight for the right person.
It's about the team, Karen Vaughn. Yep. Karen Vaughn, I just love it when you get fired up there. Yeah, I just love it. And let me say this too. The Donald showed us a lot about his character yesterday. Let me tell you why. Because he saw the speech that Ted Cruz was going to give, and he let him give it anyway, even without the endorsement. He let him give it anyway. That people, you may have overlooked that, but that is an important statement about a person's character when they know that you may not come out fully on their side, but because you're a part of the team, they let you play your part anyway. Karen Vaughn, I want to thank you. Listen, I got to have you back next week after the convention. Well, no, it'll be a week after the two conventions are over, so that you and I can do postmortems on both of these, because I'm sure the Dems are going to come out firing shots and all of this. So let's talk in about 2 weeks so that we can do postmortems on both the conventions.
Sounds great. Yeah, I look forward to it.
Thank you so much for your service to our nation, and of course, we will always hold in memorial the life of your son, who gave all for our nation, and from a grateful nation. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'm CL. This is the CL Bryant Show. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in just a few minutes with D-Rock.
Broadcasting from the Bayou State and all around the Gulf Coast and streaming nationwide. This is the C.L. Bryant Show.
Thank you, every one of you, for tuning in here, being with us these 2 hours that we've been here. 2 hours a day is all we ask you for, and I certainly appreciate you making us the most listened to talk in the region here in the Arklatex area. Certainly appreciate all of our sponsors who has helped us here in these last 2 years. And throughout that 2-year period, at the close of the show, you have heard the opening lyrics and music of a song that is most dear to me. It is called The Uniform. And I have gotten to know the writer and performer of that song over the years. And he has become a friend of mine, somebody I have great respect for, not only for his talent, but for his patriotism to this country, just a friend. His name is D-Rock. He is, of course, a Nashville singer-songwriter, and above all, he's a patriot through and through, and has written and performed several original patriotic songs, such as The Uniform, that you hear at the close of this show every day. And if you have not picked it up, you pick it up. But The Colors, I Fly, a fantastic song, and then Forgotten Soldiers, just to name a few of them. We're going to talk about some of the projects that he is involved in here with him. He's on the line with me, my friend, and someone that you know, even though you haven't met him, because you hear him every day. D-Rock, welcome back to the C.L. Bryant Show.
C.L., it's so good to talk to you today, my friend. And thank you for such kind words and always just being really awesome to me, my friend.
Let me ask you this, D. Let me ask you this. The Forgotten Soldier project, man, that just caught my eye when I saw that. Tell us about that.
Well, I'm working with two wonderful ladies, Denise Haynes and her daughter Elizabeth, and they own the Homefront Equestrian's Ranch. And we have teamed up to help military kids. Their parents are fighting for our freedom and liberty, and they're deployed. And we call them the Forgotten Soldiers because they're in the fight, and they're little patriots, just like we call. They're the patriots come in every size, and it's the kids that hurt more than we realize. That's what we say. And I wrote this song for them, but it's touched so many people. It's touched our veterans. It's touched our current serving troops. And just when they hear that hook, Forgotten Soldiers, it just brings a feeling that you will never be forgotten.
Wow.
And we bring that to the children to let them know that while their parents are out there protecting liberty, we're going to help you as much as we can.
You know, and that's true to the words that you write in the song, The Uniform, and to the families left behind, we'll stand by your side. And when we think about those kids of veterans, you know, D-Rock, you know what, man, you hit the nail on the head there, because a lot of times we think about the wife and the mother, maybe, but a lot of times that forgotten soldier is that kid whose dad or mom is off TDY.
C.O., that is our mission. You just summed it up perfectly. Thank you so much. No, that is what we're doing. What we have found in Elizabeth and her mom, Denise, horses are healing. And some of the stories that we could tell you when you have a soldier returning home and they surprise your kid out there on the ranch and they're riding, and that bond and seeing their dad or their mom and say, look, Mom, I can ride this horse, and look how good I've gotten while you're gone. It's a real bonding experience.
So you take them out and let them, so they have horses.
It's a complete horsemanship program, and it's free to the kids. We work off of donations, and if you don't mind,
Yeah, be sure. Tell everybody.
Okay, GoFundMe.com, Forgotten Soldiers Project. And they can also go to HomefrontEquestrians.org and find out all the things that we're doing for the military kids. And we appreciate all the help we can get, because we want to keep this thing free to military families. And being a horseman myself, horses have to be shod, they have to be taken care of, hay, and All
Yeah.
that just to put those smiles on the kids' faces.
Yeah.
You know me. I support our military through and through. I've got a song I'm gonna have for you soon, CL, called "On the Line."
On the line. I can't wait to hear it, man. Let me ask you, give that out, give the website, give the GoFundMe and the website out again, D.
Okay, I sure will. GoFundMe.com, Forgotten Soldiers Project, and they can go check that out and find out more. The website for Home Front Equestrians is homefrontequestrians.org. And don't forget me, drockcountry.com.
drockcountry.com. And of course, we are looking at Home Front Equestrians, Home Front, HOMEFRONT equestrians.com. And of course, you can go to D Rock, that's D Rock Country.
You got it.
drockcountry.com. D, I know you always rock the place, man. Listen, I need you to come back on with me next week. Let's talk more about this.
You got it. That'd be great, Theo.
God bless. God keep you, D.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Bye now.
Okay.
D Rock. And when I tell you that he can burn down the house, folks, when I tell you that he can actually burn down the house, this is a guitar playing man. And he has a great band behind him. D-Rock, drockcountry.com, and he has a worthy cause, Home Front Equestrians. Go check it out. I'm CL.
It's so hard to see those children cry. Holidays and Christmas are a time for joy.
All right, here we are, home stretch. And I want to say this. Be sure, by the way, to go to Facebook /TheCL Bryant Show. Like us on Facebook. And download the free CL Bryant app to your iPhone or Android device. Listen to the show anywhere you like. I make this commitment to you that as far as information, bringing you guests that will be stimulating, informative, and of course sometimes controversial. And you got to get ready for that. Sometimes they're going to be controversial guests that I'll have on. But there has to be a bridge to conversation. And the only way that you can have the conversation is talk. And that's what this show's about, is to building that bridge. And I want to thank all of our sponsors for being here and helping us to do that. I had said to one of our guests a little bit earlier, or maybe it was a phone call, Keith, that had called in, one of our phone calls. I said that I really don't think, in the full scope of everything that happened here in the last 24 hours, I don't think Ted did anything wrong, but I do liken it to this. In fact, I was telling some of the folks on a conference call a little bit earlier how I felt about it. I don't know if they bought into it or if they liked what I said. You know, they asked me, so I told them. I said, this is how I feel it came off. It came off as though Ted was invited to someone else's party, and he was asked to give a toast to the host. And he basically gave the impression that he was saying to the other people at the party that he's not the man that I am. That's basically the toast. That was the impression of the toast. He didn't say those words. He didn't say that. But that's the impression that people came away with. And I disagree with those who are saying that, well, he was purposely, and very well he could have been. Who knows? It's a political game. I don't like it being played with such high stakes right now, because if we lose this time, yeah, we lost with John McCain, we got Barack Obama. We lost with Mitt Romney, we got Barack Obama. We lost with Bob Dole, we got Bill Clinton. Second time. First time W. And then first time Herbert H. W. Lost it. We got Bill Clinton. We lose this time. This is why the stakes are so high. And nobody said it better than Karen Vaughn, the Gold Star mom. This time, we can't afford to lose. Not if you are a lover of the Republic. I'm not talking about the Republican Party. I'm talking about the Republican. That's another thing, even having to explain the Republic and what that's all about we the people here, we the Republic. If we want to keep the Republic intact so that that great whisper, the great idea, the great success story of America can be passed on to future generations, I do believe this is the last great hope to keep it. And it seems so strange to me that a non-politician, a person who is in fact a business mogul, a reality TV show star, and I'm going to talk about this tomorrow. Be sure to tune in tomorrow, the weekend show. Be sure to tune in the weekend show. You'll be engaged. A reality TV show star, a billionaire, an unlikely candidate for president of the United States, is the person that we're hoping will in fact win the office of the White House. Only in America can this story be told. This just doesn't happen. He didn't buy it because he hadn't spent a whole bunch of money. Trump hadn't spent a whole bunch of money. He's fixing to get ready to. He's about to get ready to spend some. But he hadn't spent a whole bunch of money. There has been millions. Jeb Bush spent a lot of money. Hillary Clinton is spending a lot of money. There has to be something in the methodology of the way Trump wins. There has to be something in the art of his deal, because he is winning without spending. Do you understand what's going on here? There is something amazing that is happening in this candidacy. And yeah, sure, he has the strength of celebrity and all of that, but that does not win presidential elections. I'll be back to close it out when I return. This is CL. Folks, as we close out this day, troubling news has come up there in Central Park. Jane and I were just up in New York. Went through Central Park just a few weeks ago, and we were up there with Trump. And man throws a fake bomb into a police van outside of Central Park, New York. I tell you, folks, that this happens sometimes, and I want to tell you something. This is what I think happens sometimes, and this is what I think is going on sometimes. I think that they do trial runs on certain things to see if they can do it and get away with it, or how the police will react. I think that is what happens in some of these situations. Of course, anybody does anything like this, whether it's fake or not, they're nuts. But what troubling to all of us is that it seemed to be more nuts popping up day by day by day, and the target seems to be those who are charged with guarding the city, our cities, our children, you, me, your wives, your sweethearts. And there's also word that there are gangs planning hits on police officers around the country. What? Let me say this in no uncertain terms. Whatever it takes to restore law and order to our streets, let's take that course. Order is most important. The rule of law must be applied. Back the blue. The alternative is unthinkable. Anarchy exists on your streets while you sleep peacefully in your beds at night, while your children sleep down the hallway or upstairs from you, while they sleep peacefully in their beds at night. Anarchy exists. And there are men and women in uniform who are charged with keeping the city safe. Back the blue. I want to thank God for bringing us to the close of yet another day, and I want to thank Him for our men and women in uniform around the globe who defend our right to speak our mind. And until I'm able to talk to you again, this is CL, and may God bless and keep you all.
Stand by your side, and the bond